Horrorheads, it is that time of the year. It is like Christmas for all of us because this weekend, well, when you see this weekend might be over, but it is prime time for Halloween, baby. Halloween 2023 is here, and yours truly, the mouthpiece of the Northeast, is here alongside with the 80s horror god. And today, we are talking everything Halloween. Not only the franchise, but hey, even our experiences, maybe some memories, some fond memories of Halloween. And I wanted to do this episode. I know we haven't been, Sean, we haven't been as consistent as, we should be with this, but there's a lot going on, as people may know, and there's a lot coming up next year. But we promised the Horrorheads out there, as I did, next year, season 4, we will be coming back bigger, stronger than ever, more consistent than ever. A lot of episodes on the horizon, but right now, here we are, prime time, baby. Halloween. Sean, how you feeling, man?
Feeling great tonight. Everything's good.
This is, and I say this is the most wonderful time of the year for us, even though we celebrated 365. And today, I want to get into Halloween. We're going to talk about the franchise, our favorite timelines, our favorite characters from the franchise, other than the main characters, and some Halloween memories and a whole bunch more, because there's been some news as of late, which we will get to later on in regards to Halloween. But I guess we're going to start it off with this. Sean, 'tis the season, man. Halloween, you could smell it in the air. That October weather, the foliage, the leaves changing, and in the background right here, one of my favorites, Halloween 4 playing. But let's get into some memories. Back in the day, man, what comes to mind when you think about Halloween?
For me, it's kind of like disheartening to think about it now. I mean, I was in elementary school in the 70s and then, like middle school in the early 80s. And, back then you were hyped. I mean, I remember as far back as maybe like kindergarten, first grade. I mean, you had a party in school. You didn't do schoolwork all day, teachers brought in cupcakes, this, that, and the other thing. You wore your costumes. So it was kind of like a whole day thing going on. And I remember the first town I lived in, there was a Halloween parade. The kids would march up and down the main street and all that fun stuff. And there was an actual full Halloween parade on top of that. I don't think there's too many places that do the Halloween parades anymore. But best of all, what you don't see now, every single door all the way down the street, trick or treat, they were giving out candy. You're not seeing that anymore. The costumes have obviously changed a lot. Back then it was the little cardboard box with the piece of plastic in front and with the plastic mask and then the plastic thing you put over your body, which was, you had like choices like a superhero or, the scariest stuff was like a Frankenstein or something to that effect. I can't remember what the hell I used to get, but, it's, I've noticed a shift, maybe in like the late 90s, early 2000s when kids couldn't cover their faces. They were allowed to wear a costume to school, but they couldn't cover their faces. They couldn't bring a plastic sword, and it just started getting real stupid. You got a kindergarten kid or first grade kid,
I don't get it. I remember those times. So you're right. In the 90s, things they were transitioning. I do remember the school. I don't know if you remember in school. Like in school, we had like a whole day with I guess people used to bring in munchkins and candy.
Everything.
Elementary school, yeah, it was something cool, man. You could dress up. And
somebody's parent would make cupcakes. Somebody's other parent would make those little goodie bags, with candy and spider rings and all that fun stuff inside there. And you had a classroom mom, that would bring stuff in. I don't know how schools are now, but back, if I remember correctly, back then, you were pretty much in one classroom all day, in first grade and all that stuff. So, again, it was just an all day thing. And now, man, I look out my window or go on a drive on Halloween night, and man, you're hard pressed to find a neighborhood where everybody's giving out candy. And on top of that, I see so many kids walking around without costumes, knocking on doors. Come on, man.
Dude, you got to dress up. If you want a piece of candy and you're knocking on my door without a costume, you're not getting one.
And I'm not saying you got to go to Spirit Halloween or Walmart or Target and drop all this money. Get creative, man. I did it.
What
even as you got older, like when I was in middle school and stuff in the mid '80s, we got creative. We'd go out for an hour, hit our route, go home, change costumes, hit the same route again. So you know, so you doubled up on your goods. But even like way back in the day, you would remember which houses gave the full size candy bar. You'd remember which house, gave you the dollar bill. There was houses every year like clockwork. You know you were getting that dollar bill, or you knew you were getting a full size candy bar. So those were prime time spots. I mean, I remember when in the early 2000s when my son was young, it was still kind of fun, but we had a lot of traffic from neighboring cities coming in, just flooding the streets, which made it a little bit more complicated. But I guess it is what it is now. And the only thing I can say is for an older generation is, think back when you were young and you went out trick or treating, and those houses that didn't have their lights on, how disappointed you were. I mean, is it really that tough to put your lights on, spend $10 at Rite Aid or whatever at Walmart, buy a giant bag of candy, even if you just give it out till it's gone,
Yeah. I mean,
But
it's something for the kids, Uh, I know there's also some people that, don't believe in Halloween or whatnot. And I guess maybe those are the people with the lights off, not,
those are the people that don't like fun, man. You know
Yeah, you're
what?
right.
It's just fun. I don't want to get too crazy with it, but whatever. If it's a religious thing, or whatever. This 7-year-old kid isn't walking around the streets, hailing Satan. He's wearing a Spider-Man costume and he wants a Reese cup from you.
Yeah. I
But
remember.
top of that, the ones I love all the decorations I've been seeing this year. Some of them don't make a lot of sense to me, but either way, they're decorating. So, but the people who put these giant elaborate decorations out, and then Halloween night, pitch black. Like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Are you on board? Are you not on board? Like, what's the deal, man?
Yeah, it's
So,
like they want to show off the decorations, but they don't want to contribute on
right,
Halloween to the candy. No,
yeah,
listen, we have no candy. Look, like right now, in where I'm at, this neighborhood, they have set nights for Halloween for trick or
that's
treat.
everywhere now. Yeah,
Yeah. And tonight, as I record this, they're doing trick or treating. What I do, I put a big bowl of candy outside. Please take one. Because we're recording. I can't sit. Sometimes I sit out there, hand them out with the
Mhm.
kids. Sometimes I
It's
dress up.
early though, man. Was it? It's like 4 days early. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, no, it's wild, man. And like a neighborhood close to me, they do it every year on Halloween night. So I'm gonna be going there with Horror Daddy. We probably roaming the streets
Okay,
and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm like a big kid, Sean. I enjoy still walking around,
hundred
trick or
percent.
treating. Not, I mean, I'm not going to nobody's door asking for candy.
Right.
Maybe if I'm in costume, maybe I can get away with it. I'm not, I'm not a tall guy. So if I cover the beard, maybe, oh, this is just a big kid, you know. But yeah, man, I still I enjoy it, man. I miss back in the day. We used to have shaving cream fights, as you got older with the kids on the block.
Hey,
Uh,
listen, we did all the pranks. It's all in fun. I mean, I'm sure there was times when people damaged property or whatever, but we never did it on it. We'd go to a cornfield the week before. We'd pluck a bunch of ears of corn. We'd chuck the corn off, throw a handful of corn at the door. We called it tic tacking. I don't know if that's a common, if that's a common term. And then we kept the cob. We called those door knockers. So we throw the corn, and then if you were lucky enough, you got the door knocker, which made a much louder boom when it hit the door.
I feel lucky enough.
So that was our thing with the tic tacking, with handfuls of corn.
Now
We, I,
we had
I even did it to my own mother. We would throw it in our own house just to run and like watch her like look out and like what the hell's going on. So,
It's
but
like you said, it's you're having fun as kids. Kids will be kids. Back in the day, we did the toilet paper, the tea pen. We throw
absolutely, people
around
used
the
to put
block, around the neighborhood.
soap car windows and big
Oh,
deal. You know,
yeah. I know,
you
dude.
make a little soap on your window. Some kid got his kicks doing it. Whatever, man.
Yeah,
But
it's memories. Yeah, it's memories, dude.
as far as like the doing it on different nights, I mean, I get that. It just takes away from everything. It would be like, okay, so Christmas is on Friday, but let's open up our presents on Tuesday morning before Christmas. To me, that's the same difference, bro.
Yeah,
Halloween is for Halloween night, man, and
I
it and
agree.
it dilutes it when you're having it 4 or 5 days beforehand, man. It really does. That's just my opinion. It just waters it down. It's no fun.
I mean, I look at it like this. We celebrate it again over here throughout the year, but October is prime time for this stuff. But I definitely agree with you. I'm used to it on Halloween night. So over here, it was a transition. In New York, when I was there, it was always Halloween night, and it would run all night. Now, like even right now, Sean, while the trick or treaters are out there, it's only from 6 to 8 in my neighborhood.
That too.
Like
Yeah, that too.
the time things, and the world is changing. The world has changed dramatically since we were growing up on Halloween. Now there's laws, there's restrictions. It's like back in the day, dude. I mean, we were out till midnight, and we would get bags of candy.
No
Now,
doubt.
oh my God, there's a recession with candy. We're lucky if we get a half a bag. Yeah,
No doubt.
it's wild, dude. Like, I mean, picture us going out there now and say, you know what, we're gonna go trick or treating. Let's see if those same homes that we used to hit back in the day still gonna deliver. Most of the people probably moved out of those homes, and there's different people there. And nowadays you get a piece. You don't get those bags in. You're lucky if you get those goodie bags of candy.
Oh, those were amazing, man. Those little, they said trick or treat on them or whatever, it's little, and you'd have 10 pieces of small candy. Man, that was gold. You weren't just getting one, fun size bar. You were getting a bag of candy, whether it was 8, 10 pieces or whatever, but you knew inside that little bag, there was treats in there. So,
And if you shook it and you heard the jingle, you had a little extra jingle, my
you gotta
man.
have that jingle. Yeah, you know what? There was even times when I got them when there was candy and change in there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the night, if you're 8 years old and you're separating change and a couple dollar bills, and you got $6.80 and a pile of candy, you're on top of the world, bro.
Oh yeah. What was your go-to candy? What was your favorite candy back in the day?
I'm always about the chewy stuff like Starburst and those kinds of things. Yeah, that's always been the caramels and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
The
but as
cavity.
far as candy bars, I'm a Milky Way guy, man.
Oh, Milky Way. I
My
was
favorite.
always,
Yeah.
I was always Reese's, or Hershey's Reese's.
All good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I'm thinking about it now. I'm like about to go take some of that candy myself upstairs. But but yeah, man. Back in the day, I think my fondest memory of trick or treat. It was one year, and it was the same neighborhood. I was living in this neighborhood at the time. It was 3 years in this neighborhood. It was Glendale, Queens, in New York, and everybody on the block, man, camaraderie was real on the block. It was tight community, and we would do our trick or treating locally. But we'd come back and we would hang out. This one night, we hung out all night, shaving cream. We were just eating candy. We were having soda. We would juice up, playing street hockey. I remember that night, and I just, man, I could literally smell the air now to think about, like nostalgia.
Absolutely.
It was something special, man, and we don't have that a lot anymore. There's a lot of shit that happened in the world that changed that, and people are like, they're scared to interact with people.
I get all that. Yeah, but I mean, you could change that by making it fun again.
Yeah, let's
Be
make
that
Halloween
person that
great
makes it
again.
fun. No matter what time frame you want to go to, whether it's 80s, 90s, 2000s. I mean, you should, obviously you should always, with a child under 13, 14, you should be out there with them. You should be I'm not saying send out your 6, 7-year-old kids to go trick or treating on their own. No matter what it is, you should be out there with them, protecting them or whatever it is. But
Even though Sean, you and I were we were out there at like 7 years old, but yeah, running around.
listen, like I said, you'd come home from school. First of all, you're already amped up on sugar because you've been eating treats all day in school. And basically, we didn't go out trick or treating. And I'll get to another point in this in 1 second. As soon as it got dusk, man, hitting the pavement. Now you go out here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's kids walking up and down the street without costumes, knocking on doors at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Man, I mean,
Yeah, it was. You used to we used to leave the lights on. Even New York, like 5, 6 years ago, we left the lights on. They would come up 10 o'clock at night still.
I made my own costume for years, man, years. I don't remember what the heck I used to do, but you know,
What was your as far as Halloween goes? What was your fondest memory? What was a memory that stuck out to you?
just mostly the ones like I was saying, back in elementary school, because in that town I grew up in, all day long in the school, cupcakes, yada yada. And I just very fondly remember we lived on the main street, and down the far end of the street was the firehouse. And I had a big parking lot, and the kids would all walk around the street in a circle. The parents, and then they would have the legit parade,
Yeah,
and then you go trick or treating. So
yeah,
there's a whole lot going on. It's kind of like maybe not to the same extent, but like the movie Trick or Treat, where they're downtown and that big parade's going on and everything. There's just a big celebration of
like a
Halloween.
Halloween Mardi Gras.
Yeah, basically, but again, like you said before, I haven't felt that vibe in years. Years. It's
I don't know what's
it
going on.
sucks.
I don't.
Like you said, you could smell it in the air. You were excited.
Yeah, now it's just different, man, and I think it's because of the way the world is, and we have to, like you said, get back to that again. Get back to the good times. Get
Mhm.
back to the simple times. I feel like also people overthink things
Yeah.
nowadays. It doesn't have to be that complicated, man, to have a good time. Especially
Listen,
Halloween.
I don't know anybody that's gonna put drugs in your candy, man. Drugs are expensive.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't
Especially nowadays, like I
I
can't
don't know
afford
who's
it.
gonna be, listen, no matter what in life, there's always gonna be somebody, and there might be a one-off sometime where somebody does something shitty with candy to kids, but you know what? Back in the '80s, there was a time before when medicines weren't sealed. Your bottle of Tylenol wasn't sealed. And I remember one time in the news, somebody was putting something in the Tylenol that was killing people. I don't know what the hell it was in there, and that's what led to that little seal being over the top of your, you know, no matter what, if somebody wants to do something shitty, they're going to do something shitty.
Yeah.
And if it's something on Halloween night to kids, that's just a whole nother level of screwed up. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on that, man.
No, no, I agree, man. But I guess the
Somebody's
summer,
gonna find a way to be shitty.
of course. I mean, you can't prevent that. It's just you take the precaution, but you got to have fun, Sean. I feel like we lost that, as a community, not only with Halloween, but like talking about it right now specifically, trick or treating. We lost fun. It's like
So
everything organized, and we're doing it these times. I'm like, why?
about a week ago, I saw something on an internet news thing or whatever that pops up. A school did a shutdown because somebody was walking down the street outside of the school, past the school in a Jason Voorhees costume. I mean, come on, man.
And you know what? All it takes is that one person to do something bad, dressed up
Well,
in a.
no, I don't think they were doing anything wrong. The school
No,
was
I know.
overreacting. Is my point.
They know you're right, and that's what I'm saying. Like they're overreacting based on probably something that happened in another state or whatever it is like that. But
Exactly.
still, like, dude, I understand that, but like, listen, to Jason costume, are they doing anything threatening? Do you see them doing anything threatening?
Right.
Like, do they have a gun in their hand? Do they have a real machete? Like, I don't know, man. It's just you don't have to shut down a school for that. Send the
with
cops over there if you're worried and see what's
with like
going
you're
on.
saying, with the way things are today, like if I slap on my Michael Myers cosplay with my fake butcher knife with the blood all over it, I promise you, if I walk around neighborhoods, people are going to be apprehensive about me doing that. They're
Oh
going to be thinking, this guy, here's an adult man. We can't see who he is, and he's walking out. Is that knife real?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's,
That's just how
it's
it is, man. And it's because of I guess everything that had happened since the '80s, '70s, '80s, all the way to
I
now. But
agree.
there's more stuff. Like think about this though, and you know this, Sean. There were more. Let me be very blunt with you. More shit happened in the '70s and '80s than it did now. It just wasn't recorded. We didn't have phones, back then.
Oh,
Before that.
100%.
Oh, God only. Oh my God, I can imagine the content in the videos we would have seen from the
If
'70s
they
and
if
'80s.
they had cell phones and TikToks and all this shit when I was a teenager, man, whoo, I'd have been in a lot of trouble.
Oh,
I
well,
do remember though, once like 10 years ago, I worked on Staten Island, and it was Halloween, and I looked out the window of work, and there's a guy in a Michael Myers costume walking down the street, and everybody walking by him went around him in a big oval. It was hilarious. I mean, it was great, but it wasn't the fact of they were scared of him doing anything. It was just that fear of Michael Myers walking down the street.
yeah.
So but that was fun. Now would be I think it would be looked at it a little bit differently.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, man. And speaking of Michael Myers, let's talk about Myers, okay? 1978, Halloween comes out, John Carpenter, and originally it wasn't even, between Carpenter and Deborah Hill, they took this movie to a different level, and they named it,
Whole new level,
yeah, they named it Halloween because originally it was like the Babysitter Murders or something like that.
something to that
Yeah,
effect.
something
Yeah.
like that, and only imagine, like, okay, the Babysitter Murders 2 and 4, the Babysitter Killer Returns, and 5, the Babysitter's Revenge. Like I could not see that. There's no lingo there.
I
That
don't see it
doesn't seem.
continuing under that title. Yeah.
Thank God they changed it. They're Halloween, and then they, with that theme, and it's so simple. I mean, I can even play it on the keyboard, and probably you could probably play it on the keyboard. Like, dude, the Halloween theme, it's so simple, but it's so
Not me.
catchy.
I got no talent, man.
I'm positive. I learned it literally in about 5 minutes,
That's
and
freaking awesome. I
yeah,
want to learn that.
dude, it's like I mean, like the basic keys, and I'm
Listen, it's the most one of the most, if not most, recognized horror movie. When you hear one note, you know what you're about to hear.
that's how you know it's a
Bottom,
good
bottom line.
track. Yeah, 100%. And
Bottom
you don't even have to be a horror fan. That's how crazy it is. I would transcend.
100%. In my opinion, the most recognizable soundtrack slash song, whatever title track to a horror movie ever. I don't think anybody can argue with that.
Yeah, dude, and
Nothing else stands out like that.
no, not at all. And you think about 78, right? And people say, "Oh, yeah, he put slashers on the map." Some people believe that that's where the slasher franchise began. Not true at all. I mean, we can go back to Psycho and probably something before Psycho, but
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean, even though, and there's people that say that Carpenter, brought the bird's eye view, using the camera as the killer's view, but that was done in Black Christmas. He might have maybe perfected it, but it wasn't his, and I'm not knocking that, but there's a lot of people that think that that was the first time that was done, and that's also not true. I think they just rounded out a slasher. They perfected it, I guess you could say, maybe, as far as the way it was filmed and the music and everything, and
dude, I agree 100%, man. I
not
think
even the first Final Girl. I mean, you got Marilyn Burns and all these other women, so it's just
that's true. I mean, and you think about that too. Texas Chainsaw came out 4 years prior, 74. And I think about slashers and stuff. I mean, dude, that's the one that sticks
to
out.
me. To me, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is where it all started. Where how we define a slasher film today. To me, that's the first one.
Yeah,
The
no,
way
I
the
agree.
way it's defined today.
Very gritty, very real. And it just made you believe. I mean, the whole storyline behind it, people were legitimately believing like, did this guy is
No
down to,
doubt.
it was real, man. And that's really for me. Before even I knew about Psycho when I was younger, it was Texas Chainsaw. My father would talk about it. I'm like, oh, this is it. But then, seeing Halloween, I'm like, this is creepy because when you see that Myers mask, that just white mask, the William Shatner special, okay, that white mask though is so goddamn creepy, and the way he was stalking Lori, and
Yeah, and I think because it's a mask, it's emotionless.
yes,
So you just got this blankness to it. That's a big part of it. That's a big part of the fear. You're
you
just
just
looking
almost pulled a Loomis on us, man. You pulled a Loomis on us.
at.
What's the line again? What's the quote?
Which one?
No,
Oh man, that's
that's
I
too
can't
long to
quote
remember.
that. Yeah, it's too long.
Hell, emotionless face.
I broken set yeah,
I
the
see
devil's eyes.
you posted the meme up there, and it says, "Sir, this
Yeah,
is."
yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. You haven't got it.
I think the meme is from part 4. Uh, isn't that the line he gives to the old man in the
No,
picked up by the hitchhiker?
no. That was actually the original. That was when he was talking to the
Oh, it
sheriff.
is from the original. Okay.
Yeah, that hitchhiker. Oh, dude, that guy was funny in four over here. I don't know if we're gonna see him in the background too, but
One of my all time favorite characters. That scene is so kick ass, man. It's so awesome.
you're hunting it, aren't you? I love that guy, man.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Reverend
I don't know
Jackson.
that actor's name, but that was awesome.
I know. I knew the name and it's Reverend Jackson in the film. That's all I know. But um, yeah, I love him, and I love for this one in the background. And speaking of which, this is it's hard. It's hard to say what my favorite is in the franchise because, like you said before, sometimes it changes. It changes from year to year. Sometimes, like you know what, man,
Not for me with Halloween. Not for me.
not for you at Halloween. Well,
Halloween 4, baby.
yeah, dude. It
Best one in my opinion. I love it.
and why? Why is that for you?
I don't know. Just everything about it, man. That's there's so many different storylines, and it still kind of ties into the first one, obviously. With Jamie being Laurie's daughter and the whole nine and all that stuff. So if they would just stop moving Michael on Halloween night or the night before Halloween, maybe
I,
these things wouldn't happen. But
Like, guys, you know him already. Stop it.
Exactly. Move him on the 4th of July. He won't bother you.
Yeah, but then you'll get Uncle Sam. We don't want that anyway. That's a hold the
But
slap.
there's, the part with the head wrapped up and the bandages and everything. It's just, the way he escapes. I just like the whole story and everything, man. It's and then and 4 and 5 are my two favorites in the timeline. 5 gets a little bit crazy for me because you got the Dark Man or whatever they call him appearing. The setup for part 6,
Yeah.
which is just a whole nother ball game.
No,
As I'm sure we'll talk about, but
yeah, they dive deep in that one, man. Part
it's
6.
and then the fact that they threw in that dude in part 5 that's chasing Michael around, and they show the thorn tattoo and everything, and setting the stage for that. But that just got a little too crazy for me. I basically live in. Obviously, I watch the original every Halloween night. 4 and 5. I don't mind H2O at all. I like H2O, even though we take a hard left on the timeline. Laurie's back and has a son and everything else. So,
You know about H2O that you brought it up real quick. For those who may not know, cameo by Jamie Lee Curtis's mom in the movie. She was,
yes,
I forgot exactly who's assistant, I think, or something like that in school.
something in there.
They
Yeah.
shot a scene together. Janet Lee. So for those,
I'm still trying to watch H2O this year. I could have sworn I had a copy, but I don't have a copy, and I haven't put it up on Shutter yet.
you don't have
So,
a copy of
I,
H2O?
I thought I did. I can't find it if I do, but
Dude, I gotta give you one. I have a couple.
I got you.
Yeah.
When it comes to physical media, especially horror, I honestly don't mind the older stuff on DVD. The only time it bothers me is when because our TVs are bigger now, and there's a lot going on with the TVs. But when it's a stripe down the middle, I can't do. As
Yeah.
long as the DVD is full screen, I'm good with it. Because you know what, these 4Ks, they kind of take a lot away from the special effects. You can see a lot when it comes to the practical effects.
Yeah.
You can see what's going on. One example, not to stray from the Halloween conversation, but one example I always give when you watch a 4K, 2K, 4K restoration of Friday the 13th, and Annie gets her throat slit, on one of these TVs, you can see the big gray patch of crap they have on her throat. It takes away from me. So I kind of appreciate some of these movies just keeping them on DVD, man. So that's not being affected by that. But I definitely dig H2O. The masks change every time. Some of them, a lot of people downplay the masks from 4 and 5,
Oh yeah.
and they're pretty god awful. But it is what it is when it comes to that.
Yeah, so obviously it's safe to say that your favorite timeline is the original 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, not 6. No, I don't get into 6. I just
No,
that just goes way too far left field for me with the
it's
occult and
dark.
all that. What's that?
It's definitely dark though. It's very,
It's dark. Yeah, it's dark, but I
it
still
divides. But
I only watched 5 just because it's a continuation of 4, and Jamie's still in it and everything. I have a trouble watching that movie though because in the beginning when Jamie can't talk, it gives me literal anxiety when she's doing her thing.
yeah, no, me
And
too.
for a young lady to be acting that well, man, like I get legit anxiety and like I can't breathe when she's trying to talk. I want to just
You want to
because I
talk?
feel like she's not breathing, man.
Yeah.
What's that?
He's like, you want to talk for her? Like, just
Yeah, but again, for such a young lady to act so well, I mean, she sells that phenomenally, man. So
bro.
good.
Yo, I couldn't have said it better, man. Like seriously, shout out to Danielle Harris for a child actress like doing that kind of a
Yeah.
job. I mean, that she is honestly in the whole franchise. Now, I love Jamie Lee, but Loomis is my go-to guy. But right below Loomis is Danielle Harris. Like,
Mhm.
in my opinion, man. And what about you? Talking about characters in the franchise, other than Myers and Jamie Lee, who's your go-tos?
Daniel Harris, Jamie. Nothing really outside of that. I mean, other than like some spot characters like the hitchhiker, which we're seeing right now in the background.
Oh yeah, there it goes. Yeah.
Pop up. I mean, you definitely can't downplay. Without Loomis, without somebody chasing after him,
Oh
it's
yeah.
really pointless. You know what I mean?
His his lines, Loomis's lines in this was incredible, man. And his
phenomenal. It's my favorite Loomis movie too. You know, just everything about it. It's
yeah. He's sitting over there with the sheriff, and like 6 bodies, sheriff. I tell you, Michael Myers is here.
The scene of the gas station and everything is just absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then this one, you're a pilgrim, aren't you?
I love it. I could never watch that scene enough, man. It's amazing. That dude is he's just keeping straight ahead, drinking his whiskey, and keeps chugging along.
Signs of the times. You could drink and drive back in the 80s.
Well, you can now too. You just don't get caught.
Oh yeah, that too.
I don't recommend it because I don't want anybody to get hurt. But I mean, you can do it. But
technically, but
should you do it is another question, right?
Yeah,
you shouldn't do it, but you could.
We do not condone on Horror 365 drinking and driving, but if you
exactly.
do,
plus, I think that vehicle he's driving in the movie doesn't go faster than like 16 miles an hour. So
yeah, that's true.
He's just chugging along, man.
No, this is it, man. This one right here. Definitely.
I mean, when it comes to characters, man, I mean, you can't leave out Busta Rhymes, bro. I mean, come on.
Dangertainment, baby. Oh,
that movie is just so god awful, man.
Like, I cringe when I watch that, man. Like,
I don't think I can bring myself to ever watch it again, man. I just can't. It's so bad.
You said it, and I got like a headache when you said it. Out of nowhere, dude. I'm like, oh god, resurrection. Like, the only part of that movie that I can remotely enjoy is the beginning when he kills Jamie Lee Curtis.
I haven't seen it in so long, I don't even remember, man. Yeah. To be honest with you, same thing with 6. I haven't seen 6 in such a long time.
Yeah. You know, yeah, 6 definitely got weird. But at that timeline though, the 1, 2, it's the Curse of Thorn timeline they call it now. 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, my favorite, definitely. I mean, you know, 3's a standalone, and it's a damn good film. 3, if it wasn't labeled or called Halloween, 3 with Tom Atkins would be an incredible movie just by itself. It still is, but like
it gained a lot of steam actually in like the past few years. To be honest with you, as far as popularity, I think people are starting to accept it for what it is. It's at the end of the day, it's pretty god awful, man. So, you know, but every 80s horror movie, you know, you could pick it apart for days on end. I mean, the scene where Tom Atkins throws the mask over top of the camera, it's just my son and I laugh every damn time we watch that scene. I mean, it's so stupid. But again, that's what makes it you know, a fun 80s horror movie, you know.
That's what the 80s was about. Fun, man. Fun, entertainment, and you know, a lot of the horror movies were not the greatest horror movies, but you know, they're co-classic.
I mean, come on. How does a signal sent through my TV because I'm wearing a mask with a chip on it? How does that make snakes and eels and worms come out of my head, man? What the fuck?
You know, man, you never know. I mean, back then, who knows?
But and let's not talk about how this man stole a 5-ton, whatever the hell the weight it was, piece of Stonehenge and got it all the way to Santa Clara, California, Santa Maria, whatever the hell it is over there. You know, come on, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it definitely was outlandish.
It's insanely far-fetched, but entertaining, you know.
Yeah, 100%, man. And then, you know, you fast forward from the 80s to the 90s, we got into H2O, which, like you said, I like that movie. I enjoy that movie.
I like H2O a lot, man.
Yeah, and it was you know, the cameo alone with her and her mom on there, and then even LL Cool J was pretty good in that film.
Absolutely.
His role. Her son, people still talk about his haircut, and the salon was right behind the barbershop. I've seen that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Haircut. Dude.
But he's still working my haircut right now, but you know.
You're getting there. But
I don't care, you know. I'm not on TV and
I know you're on Horror 365. We have at least a dozen followers, Sean. So you got to clean up a little bit, buddy. Come on. No.
I think we're at 11.5.
Nah, but
so I guess where do we progress to now? I guess to Rob Zombie.
Yeah, I want to definitely talk about Rob Zombie right now. So let's get into this. What do you think about Zombies films?
So for me, the first time I saw it, I absolutely loved it. I still do. But it's kind of wearing a little bit on me now, and I'll tell you why in a second. But the reason I loved it so much is the reason why a lot of people hated it so much, because it dug deeper into who Michael was, and I like that. You got that, you know, where he's beating the kid in the woods with the stick, and you got so Halloween goes from 1978 goes from Michael Myers standing on the sidewalk at age 10 with a knife to the evil's gone. He's running away from the asylum. You're missing that
There's a big gap.
uh,
Yeah.
15, 16 years there. So you're seeing the progression of his stability through Rob Zombie's version. My complaint with it now is, and this is a lot of especially 80s horror movies, the ending is just drawn out too damn long, man. I get bored. He's just it feels like he's chasing after her for like 3 fucking days. You're watching it, man. To
Yeah.
me, it's just too far drawn out. Just get it over with. But other than that, I do like it very much for that exact reason. Because there's a lot of people that want to stay traditional and not know about Michael. I liked it for that exact reason. You got a deeper look into the psyche and mental state of Michael. Watching him in the asylum as a kid with his mom interacting. How's my sister? How's the baby? Completely fucking gone, man. Just blanked out from it. So
There was a story to be told, and I feel like Rob Zombie did that. And a lot of people,
agreed.
like you said, they piss on it. And I'm like, look, that's incredible that he did that. That he actually told us how Michael became Michael.
Hmm.
Nobody's told us that. Now, some people are like, well, we like the mystery. All right, but I mean, even now, fine, that's cool, but it's different.
So you'll accept one thing I always say is you accept all these different timelines that they came up with. Jamie has a son, this and that, and the other thing, but you can't accept this. One of my favorites is the scene in Michael's cell where he's got all those masks.
Yeah.
There's just so many cool masks, and I asked Rob one time, I'm like, Rob, what happened to all those masks? I'm like, I'll pay good money for one, man. He's like, the crew got them and the cast took them, and I'm like, that sucks, man.
Yeah. And you know what? With Rob Zombie films, like he uses a lot of the same people in his films, and there was an incredible cast. If you look at that, I mean, shit, Brad Dourif was the sheriff in there. For those that don't know, living under a rock, Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky. Uh,
Right.
and then you had, of course, his wife Sherry Moon Zombie, Baby Firefly, from the other films that he used. And oh man, there's so many.
So I liked Sherry
Gout.
in I like Sherry in the House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
Some of her stuff seemed a little bit faked to me, but I might get persecuted for this. But I think she's a horrible actress. So, but I did like her in Halloween. But she's basically playing a white trash mom. I mean, it's not an Oscar-winning stretching role or anything. But the reason is it's just because, like you just said, he uses the same cast every time, so it gets tedious to me. And that's the same with anything. Adam Sandler, he uses the same people in every movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's my complaint with it.
I
But
like
it
the
is
brutality of Michael in that.
the 100%. Me
Yeah.
too. But again, it's Rob Zombie's show. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to do. He's
You know,
so
I think all in all, speaking of zombies film, it's better. I enjoyed Rob Zombie's Halloween, and people are going to crucify me for this more than David Gordon Green's
oh,
Halloween ends, and
million times.
like in Kills, you seen that brutality, that viciousness of Michael, like you didn't. So I did like that, and going back to zombie film real quick, like you said, the progression, how Michael got worse and the story behind it. But there were some parts that were just overdrawn, and the
And
acting
then
sometimes wasn't on point. I mean, with Scout and Danielle, their connection, their chemistry,
amazing.
amazing.
Now I wish he never made Halloween 2 because that is a steaming pile of shit.
Jeez, people say that too, but you know what? I actually listen.
You have to fly me down in a chair and tape my eyes open for me to ever watch that again.
You don't like white horses?
Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
come on.
Michael Myers has been living in the fucking woods for however many years or whatever the hell, on a farm or whatever the hell he is. It's so crazy, man.
No, it
Anyway,
goes off the deep end. But yeah, fast forwarding now, the other timeline we want to talk about, okay? Oh, 2018 kills and ends. Now, Sean, before I ask you, I gotta say, I am a fan of 2018. I'm a fan of that film. I think it is actually up there in my top 3 Halloween films. But then it started getting progressively worse as the time moved
yeah.
on with kills, and then oh god,
So
and
I also love 2018, and I loved Kills. And like I started like realizing things years later after watching it, liking it a little bit more for certain reasons. But the flashback scene that introduces the other characters that were involved that night,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that flashback scene was happening in the movie. It's fucking phenomenal, man. I absolutely love that. They captured that 1978 vibe so damn good in that beginning of that movie with that flashback, man. With the Loomis, and when I saw that Loomis, I was like, oh, that's CGI, man.
I thought.
And you know what's funny is that guy, he was on the crew, and somebody said to him, you look like Loomis. So they did his hair, and the guy who plays Michael in the flashback, he was on the crew. He like built sets or something, and they were like, "Oh, we need somebody to play Michael in this flashback." And I guess he raised a hand or whatever, and he got picked for it. So
Dude,
that's kind of a little bit of cool insight there. But when I saw that Loomis, man, my mind was blown. Like
I got
I instantly thought it was CGI.
I didn't know how they did that. I got chills. I'm like, because Donald Pleasant, rest his soul, man, he was amazing. And seeing this guy look
Oh, he nailed it.
in everything, yeah, the whole acting, but like you said, the vibe, that is
Oh, that
what I love
flashback is
4 so much.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, like, I enjoyed the original, but I enjoy 4 because it encapsulates Halloween in October, and that vibe
So
captured the '70s and Halloween all around, man.
So like the end of Halloween ends when they're all beating Michael down in the street. I've come over the years and I've heard other people say this is where I
Guilty.
kind of got the realization is that the more beatings and everything you do to him, the stronger he was becoming. Ends is a
Trilogy.
complete piece of shit in my opinion. First of all, that's no way to finish off an icon from horror. He's one of the biggest horror icons on the planet. I mean, come on, man. That was so dumb. I and he's not. I mean, he's hardly even in the movie. It's just, and I know there's way more fans out there that agree with my opinion that it's no good. I mean, I didn't even. I have 2018 and I have Kills or in my collection Blu-ray. I will never buy Halloween Ends. I will never watch it again. I was so disappointed, man. And
You know,
how they finished him off.
and, I think about that, because we don't wanna get too deep into each of the films, but
Right.
definitely we have to have an episode on it itself, breaking down, I think, this trilogy and maybe other timelines in the future. But like talking about it briefly right now, 2018 definitely brought back that Michael vibe and that scene. There was an iconic scene in there when he took the mask out of the trunk. I had shivers down my
No
spine
doubt.
in that gas scene.
I still I still
Yeah,
remember walking out of the theater, and I forget what the kill count is, but was with my son and 2 other people, and I said, "Man, there was the kill count. I think it was 18 or something." I said, "They were like, you counted?" I'm like, "You didn't? You know, what I mean? What do you mean? You didn't count you didn't keep track of the kills? What's wrong with you, man? You know what I mean?" But
yeah, dude.
but I agree with you. The whole vibe was back, and I like how they introduced it. But again, you can even pick apart that. You know, if Laurie Strode still has all these issues where she's fucking building this fortress, why did she fucking move to New Jersey?
Yeah, yeah. Why are you
Never
still
fucking
in New
found
York?
her.
Like the PTSD that they show with Lori and Jamie Lee,
Yeah,
she did a tremendous job and acting that and because that's people with PTSD. That's exactly how they act.
100%.
And I love that part, but I also love she's a badass in that film. She's like, I'm ready for
Agreed.
you, Michael.
No,
And that
she is.
part,
Maybe my thinking just goes too far with it. If you're that distraught and PTSD over it, move to fucking Massachusetts on the other side of the country. He's never gonna find you.
yeah.
You
No,
know,
it's she was
it's
waiting.
crazy.
She was waiting for him to come out. I think that's what it was. That's why she stood
No,
close to.
there's that's what that's the thing.
Yeah,
There's that bond, and like you said, she was fucking waiting. She knew, and she was fucking waiting to do her thing. That fortress was pretty hardcore, man. That
dude.
was
Yeah,
some, and at the end when she says, it's not a place for us to hide. It's a trap. When she traps Michael down there, and starts the fire, it's pretty wild.
dude. That caught me off guard. I'm like, oh shit. Like
Yeah.
she was ready. This is all a plan. She had it prepped, planned because she knew he was
Oh,
coming back.
okay. So I want to talk about what I think is the most horrible scene in Kills.
Okay.
When
All right.
Michael comes out of the house and there's the 7, 8, 9 firefighters that he kills, you watch the scene and he kills the first one, and he just goes one by one, and they all stand there just waiting their fucking turns. It's like it's either fight or flight. You know what I mean? Why aren't you running away? He's not going to catch all of you. At least not right away. They
Why
all
don't
just
you jump?
stand there waiting their turn for Michael to execute them, man. I'm just like, come on, bro.
Yeah,
What are you doing, man?
I
This guy
agree.
walked out of a building that's blazing, and he puts an axe into the forehead of one of your team members, and you all just stand there waiting your turn.
Dude, I don't get it, Sean. Sean, I don't get. It's like, dude, you know, jump him or run. Like,
Period.
100%, man. So yeah, that was a pretty. It was a
That
pretty.
I thought was like a little bit crazy, man. You know,
Yeah, that it was.
and
It was
a lot
crazy.
more believable if he buried the accident one guy and maybe got one or two others, and the rest scattered off into the woods or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree, 100%, bro. But yeah, it was a pretty badass scene, but it was pretty non-believable, man. Definitely how that happened. But
I don't know if this is like the right thing to say or like the right proper terminology, but maybe a scene for non-horror fans. You know what I'm saying by that? Like not hardcore like Halloween horror. Somebody might have been introduced through the 2018 beginning. You know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking fast forward a little bit. We talked a little 2018 kills. Now we go to ends, and I just got to say this, man. I had to watch this movie a couple times to really let it sink in and ask myself, was it really that bad? And the answer, yes, it was. Yes, it was. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna end Michael. We're all gonna come together, and we're gonna put him in a grinder. This is it. And we have this big fucking grinder in town, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
Fucking aliens. Oh my god. Like you could have taken nothing better.
Right.
Like, it was horrible, man. It was not a
I've only seen it once, and I saw it once in the theater. I can't bring myself to watch it again, man.
Sean, it was not a way to end ends in Halloween in the franchise. I mean,
The first issue is the movie's not even about Michael. They're trying to introduce all these new characters and whatever.
yeah.
And again, that's no way to bring a horror legendary icon to a finish, man. And again, it's obviously not going to be the last time we see a Halloween film.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up
Not
because
even close.
yeah, and they were talking about it. As a matter of fact, the rights, Miramax, they were talking about selling
I
the
thought it was A24.
no, yes, it was A20. I think who had the rights? Was it Mir? No. It was a battle.
I
Yeah,
think
A20.
A24 might have got the rights for a TV show or
Yes.
something. I'm not 100% sure on all that, but it's obviously not the end of Michael Myers, man.
No, imagine that though. Like, what could we see now? I mean, like thinking about this, I'm happy to hear that because a lot of people are like, oh, just put it to a rest. Put it to rest now. Part of me, I mean, I would have said that had they ended it properly, but they didn't. So I want to see a proper send off. I feel like of
Right.
Michael. What would you do, Sean? How would you end?
It's so tough because there's been so many timelines and all these things thrown out there already. I mean, I really honestly can't answer that. I don't know, man.
That's a good question. I can't even answer it
Or,
right.
and on that note, maybe letting it just go might be the answer. I don't know.
No, listen.
But then again, he didn't have a proper send off either, in my opinion, with the way ends ended. So,
Well, they're not getting Jamie Lee back. She's not doing another.
wow.
So Danielle Harris will. So maybe
So that's what I'm thinking. That'd be my first go to something with her. As an adult now.
yeah.
But again, it might be repetitive as like a PTSD thing with Lori. And then there's the people who say that it's not his sister. There's so many theories out there. It's just madness, man.
I think about what could we do that's different, and especially they're talking about a TV series. Now, if you're going to make a Halloween TV series, is it just going to be Michael Myers? Is it going to be something like people are like obsessed with this guy? They're going to be the new Michael, and there's other Michael Myers, like wannabes and impersonators. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with this. I have no idea. I mean, me thinking about it now, just not even fully sitting down thinking the
It
concept.
would take a lot to think of something that would be tangible and make sense, man.
Yeah,
I yeah.
and I can't see it ending properly without Jamie Lee. That
The
honest.
The problem is there's got to be substance to it. It's not just like making a new Friday the 13th film where you take a bunch of campers out of campground, yada yada. It's the same blueprint every time, and we're gonna go because there's really, other than the story of Jason drowning and blah blah blah. There's not a lot of storyline there. Every movie's freaking different, so there's much more of a storyline involved with Michael Myers. So again, where do you take it?
Well, maybe what Rob Zombie tried to do. If 824, I could see them doing like a prequel. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
That's
So a
something.
prequel I would be into, and the reason I'd be excited about A24 is I would keep my fingers crossed, like with X and Pearl and all that, that they stay with practical effects.
Yes, yes.
So that would be the clincher for me right there.
If you're gonna do CGI, you gotta really spend a lot of money to have good CGI. But I'm not a fan. I'm really not, man.
I,
It's practical.
I said it a million times. The worst special effects from the '80s to me are better than any CGI they can make now. I'd rather know that this fake machete going to someone's chest and the blood is made out of ketchup than see crappy CGI. And that's the thing too. A lot of them aren't spending money for the much better CGI. They're using this crap.
Mm.
Every time I try to watch a modern horror film and the first scene I see with bad CGI is just makes me want to turn it right off, man. I can't stand it.
Bro, yeah, I'm with you. I cringe.
These guys like Tom Savini and all these great phenomenal special effects artists. That's what they are. They're artists, man. It's
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? It's something about the practical effects, man. It's just it's more real, it's more believable, and it's a lot more effort that goes into it, I feel like. And
so much more.
yeah, man. And that like you said, it's art. And I would want to see like A24, if they are gonna do this with a movie or a TV show, judging by what I've seen from them, I know they're gonna deliver, Sean. I mean, shoot, X and Pearl and Talk to Me and these other
I agree, but I think that like when they try to make all these TV shows out of these older horror movies, I don't know if they've ever really had much success. I haven't watched Chucky, but everybody I've talked to said it's horrible.
it's not great. No,
Yeah, I mean it's a TV show, that's tough,
it
man.
is tough, but
I mean, what are you gonna have a 40-minute episode of? And again, people don't watch, they don't watch TV like they used to. Like I was disappointed when Creep Show came out, the fourth season on October 13th, and they dropped the whole thing at once.
yeah, it's like now you gotta
Oh, cool. Back in the day when you watched the TV show, you didn't get a new episode till the next week, and it gave you something to look forward to. You were excited. You talked about it.
yeah.
Now people get a blanket and a bowl of popcorn, and they sit and watch 13 episodes straight. That definitely devalues the whole situation. Again, you'd watch an episode one night. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but you'd watch an episode and talk about it at work or school the next day, and everybody would be like, contemplating what's going to happen, and
Yeah. And
and you had to wait a week to see what was going to happen.
yeah, you gotta wait. It was a cliffhanger most of the time, and it's like, yo, I'm waiting till next
Oh,
week.
you know what's a great example is The Walking Dead in the beginning. I don't think that was. I think you had to wait the
You
full
gotta
week
wait.
on AMC.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it now. I haven't watched it in a few years, but that's a perfect example. You had to wait a week to see what was going on with this show.
Yeah, no, 100%, man, and that's what I miss about that. Everything nowadays, you get access to the whole season already. Oh, I'm gonna sit here and watch it now. I
It's
want
a
to have one a week. I want it, in doses because it'll leave me in
fast food
anticipation.
society, man. Fast food society. I want everything. I want it right. I want it as fast as possible, and it's
But
no fun to me. But again, I with the new stuff, movie theaters, man. I just think they're going away.
what is it about the feel now, movie theaters? Like you talked about it could be possibly obsolete in the future, but the vibe. There's nothing like going to a theater and seeing a movie and being in that environment and also being there with fans as well,
Uh,
laughing and you know
I
get
couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. But so I'll get to my personal thing with it in a second. But again, with loading like full seasons now instead of making you wait. So now Hollywood or whatever is going to keep progressing to where they know where they're going to make the money. So now you have a movie is released, say October 31st, a new horror movie's coming out. But you have the option of three different channels at home, where you can pay $10 to watch a movie from home. They don't care about the theater experience, none of that nonsense. So that's a huge part of it dying to me. But for me, I can't. And you know what? This stems back all the way back to 2018 Halloween. I have been to a movie in years where there weren't a bunch of people who wouldn't shut the f up. I just went to see the theater down the street here did a bunch of A24 stuff, and so we went to see X in the theater. There
Okay.
was 8 different groups of people that just wouldn't shut up. And if you even like just nicely ask, then all of a sudden they want to, act victim or whatever the case may be, and you're just trying to enjoy a movie. Um, you know, uh, there was a when in X when Thetis first introduced the crocodile, alligator, whatever it is, 2 kids behind me, and I'm talking like mid-20s. I'm not talking about little kids. They had a 5-minute conversation on why the fucking thing was fake and pointing out the differences between a real alligator and this alligator. I'm like, who gives a fuck? Shut up. So that's what's ruining it for me. It's I haven't had very very few times I've been to the theater in the past 6, 7, 8 years where it wasn't ruined because people just don't shut up, man. I mean, if you want to do that, then stream it at home and you can talk all you want. You're not ruining someone else's time wanting to like you said the theater experience. Um, but push all that aside, you know, uh, main they need to stop this thing with putting them out on Peacock and this that and the other thing because if they're putting, for lack of a better term, meat in the seats in the theaters for horror movies, guess what they're going to make? More horror movies. They're going to make what's making them money. And I'm sure that the sales that they get uh, through the streaming services count toward their, this movie made $200 million this weekend. I'm sure all of that's taken into calculation. But if you kind of force people to go to the theater, not only does it, help the theaters, stay alive, I don't know. I just think that's a lost art. If in my opinion, it's just a thing going away now. And but for me, it's just a personal experience of the unpleasantness of the theater. That, and there's a few of them. There's probably 3 or 4 within 10 minutes of me here, and all but one of them haven't like upgraded. The one we
Oh,
went to see, the one we went to see X in, the seats were so uncomfortable and small. I mean, it was like built in the '70s or something. They haven't upgraded anything. A lot of these newer theaters have you get the reclining seat, nice and cozy.
no.
But
Yeah, you're sitting. You're better off taking a folding chair with you.
yeah, you might. I don't know if you've ever, this might not reach too many people. I don't know if you've ever been inside of Roy's Hall inside of Blairstown, New Jersey, to watch
Oh,
Friday the 13th.
oh yeah, nothing like it.
Those seats are the most. I won't ever go there again. It's within 10 minutes, man. You're just insanely uncomfortable, man.
You
It's
leave
like
you like in the
put
corner.
money into this, upgrade, renovate, do something.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing. You know what, man? And I think also you're right. The money, that's the problem because, like you said, everything is streaming now. People are watching these movies in the convenience of their own home, but the theater provides something that your home doesn't, an
It's
experience.
amazing.
Yeah, and the being just surrounded with those speakers and in that theater and that big on the big screen because you're not gonna have a screen like that in your house. And then just being fully immersed in the film and it's something special, and it's an event, it's something to do. You get out of the house, even though you're inside and you can do
Yep.
it at home. Fuck, man, just get out, do it, go get some popcorn, have some snacks, and hang out by yourself, with friends, with your girl, whatever. It doesn't matter. Significant other, doesn't matter. It's something to do. It's a date night. It's
There's
fun.
there's that company. I think they're called Fathom Events,
Yeah.
and they do short runs of older films that you might not have had a chance to see in the theater, or you want to get it. And they don't just do horror, but they just did Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses for 2 nights.
Oh, dude, yeah, 8th and 11th, right?
It was absolutely amazing. I didn't get to see it in the theater back then, and like you said, with the surround sound and everything, you're hearing things not only in a different way, but maybe hearing things that you didn't necessarily hear, whether it's within the soundtrack or sounds of what's going on around you. It's just a whole different ball game, man. Well, my son and I, we love it. We've seen so many in the past few years, especially like films from the '80s, The Thing, They Live, and just the list just goes on and on of the stuff we've gone to the theater to watch again. And it's if you're a fan of horror movies, there's nothing beats going to the theater to watch these. It's just the bottom line, the best.
No, I agree with you, man. It provides, like I said, an experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. So hopefully we don't see theaters become obsolete. I think there was a little concern recently over the past few years, but AMC, what I've noticed, and even Regal, that what they're doing is they have these sign-ups, like you can
Yeah.
certain amount for the month, but you could see 3 movies in a week, or you could see unlimited movies for the month. There's different things that you can get, like
Well,
membership.
the reason I brought up the Fathom events is, I don't know what level of horror fan everybody is. You have your basic commercial horror fans, the Chuckies, the Freddys, the Jasons. But for me, man, I want to see the more people that go to these things like Fathom events. Again, getting back to that, sometimes we go and there's like 6 other people in the theater, man. I'm like, what the hell's going on, man?
Yeah,
Crazy.
it is.
Why, especially if you're born in the year 1995, 2000, that makes in your 20s or whatever it may be, and you're a horror fan, or your parents raised you on horror. Why wouldn't you want to go see a horror film from the '80s in the theater to have that experience?
Dude, yeah. I'm
But
with you.
yeah, the more tickets they sell, and a lot of times, you're getting some cool stuff. Some of these things they give out posters and all different kinds of stuff. It's a poster you're not going to get anywhere else, and things like that. So for me, it's a lot of fun. It's just the experience of some people who just don't have any respect for anybody else in the theater that just brings it down for me.
Oh,
You know,
bro.
not to stray from the Halloween thing, but I'll tell you, when Maxine comes out, the third installment in the X and Pearl, man, if they ruin that for me, I'm gonna be really pissed off. So
I'm not gonna want to be in that theater if they ruin that for you, man. Because yeah, Sean, I know that's something you've been
yeah,
waiting for, and A24. We just spoke about them with Halloween, and I guess I don't want to. I guess switching back to that, thinking about it, I don't want to see a TV show, Sean. I don't. I would
no,
like to see.
I can't in my mind. I just can't put anything together what it could be. But
No.
the other thing is, speaking to the streaming. These home theaters and have just become so insane with the surround sound and the giant TVs that I get it. But I mean, I just still, in my mind, it doesn't compare to going to the theater. I understand a bucket of popcorn and a soda is going to cost you $18, but it's all part of the game, man.
Yeah, so I mean, but you save up for it. Like you said, it's an experience. Like you're there, you're looking to see a movie. You have your money stashed. You know what you're going to be paying.
Mhm.
I mean, again, you can't. It's price for me. You can't put a price tag on sharing that moment and that experience, especially if you're with family, friends, loved ones. It's a memory. It's a memory
Mhm.
you're going to create, bro, and you're going to be immersed in the movie when you're in the theater. So,
The discussion afterward is always better, in my
oh yeah,
opinion. You
yeah.
know,
Something we should do here, even as a Horror 365, we should go see some of these new films in the theater, and literally right after that, maybe go live. Go live right after that, right outside the theater.
But
And
you just have to be careful with that, not for to do it without spoilers for those that do want to that
yeah,
haven't seen it yet. But it's a great idea, but
spoiler alert. Yeah, it's like, God dang, Jimmy, you ruined it for me.
you should have seen John was the fucking killer, man. I can't believe John.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at that point,
Oh, she died. No.
it's pointless to go to the movie at that point. So
Yeah. I mean, but like I think horror is at a point right now that it hasn't been ever, and I'm going to say ever, because yes, in the '80s, it is, and everybody knows the best decade for horror. Originality was at a peak, but I feel like we're getting more quality content now. We're getting more horror films, or maybe just as much as the '80s, and they're all original concepts, which I'm digging. But I think with the technology nowadays, that's what makes I feel like, Sean. That's what makes this time period, this decade. Don't kill me. It may be when it's all said and done. When it's all said and done, it may be able to be equal to the '80s. maybe even supersede the 80s. It's hard because I'm an 80s guy. I love 80s horror, and I love 90s horror, even some 90s horror. But I'm looking at some of the films that they have coming out now, and just because of the technology, it's uh, overall a better film. I feel like, concept wise, maybe not, certain films, but we're getting a lot of remakes and sequels, and see Scream, Halloween was out here, and it's not too long. We're gonna see Friday the 13th. I'm sure we're gonna see a Friday the 13th film this decade.
Oh,
And
no
maybe
doubt. I mean, my other issue is these people buying the rights to these older franchises
yeah,
and just, for lack of a better term, just shitting all over them. They're just made for a different kind of audience, man. For me, like Evil Dead Rise, this new Exorcist, and
you
it's
seen The Believer, Exorcist Believer? Are you a
absolutely
believer? No, you don't. No, you didn't want. Yeah,
no interest.
yeah. But what do you think about Damien Leone? Went on record recently, and he said he would like to take a shot at making a sequel to Friday the 13th.
I didn't read the story, but I saw an article somewhere. Again, I know we talked about this in the past, but I mean, for me, I've talked to Tom McLaughlin a handful of times in the past few years. He has a complete script written. He told me the basic storyline for a new Friday the 13th film, and it sounds fucking awesome. And again, he's the guy who brought Friday the 13th back to life with Jason Lives. So why can't he do it again? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can. I mean, he told me, so I guess it's not that big of a secret. But
Yeah. Tell I think he
I
even.
don't know. I mean, it's he told me that it's going to be set in snow and it's just women, and I'm just like everything he was telling me about. I'm like, I was all in, man. And he told me, he's like, I can make this right now as a fan film, but he's like, I want this to be a full studio release, and I'm hoping that somebody gives him the money to do that.
Yeah, that's Tom is he has such an incredible mind. We had him on the show for a season finale. I think it was a couple years back. Season one was it? Might have been season one, but anyway, we got to have him back on the show. I want to talk with him again because he was telling us a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff. I remember, I don't know if it was on air recorded or off when we stopped talking, but talking about part 6 and the script. He, like you said, he has something in the works. I would love to see Tom McLaughlin make that come to fruition and have CJ
Yeah,
Graham.
that was the last time I talked to him was at a convention that CJ was at too. And I said, please tell me that man over there is is going to be your Jason. He goes, we've already talked. There's nobody else.
That's it.
So
CJ has the build. He has the height.
it's
He's still in good shape, man, for his age. Yeah. So I could see him. He has a presence to him.
there's no other person for a Tom McLaughlin Friday the 13th film, in my opinion, to play that part.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. 100% agree with you, Sean.
But everything that Tom told me about it, man, I was like, man, that's gonna be because I'm sure every real Friday the 13th fan is like concerned this is gonna be like a cookie cutter kind of film.
Yeah.
So it was still Friday the 13th. It was still Jason running around the woods, but it was a new concept of the people he's going after and everything else. So
And
that's what intrigued me everything about it.
and what a better way to bring back, there is no better way to bring back a Friday the 13th the franchise than with a man that, like you said, brought back the franchise with part 6 and is a part of it. And dare I say, my opinion, that was my favorite part of the entire franchise was part 6. I know there's other great sequels, other great Friday the 13th, but that's my go-to. And Tom brought something different to it. It was the first film and maybe the only film with no nudity in it. And
That's the first time he brought actual children into the scenario.
yeah, there you go. They actually seen the kids in the camp. Like
I mean, you got Tommy Jarvis in part 4, but he's not a camper. He's living at home with his mother.
yeah,
What I mean is, it's the first time you have children actually in the camp.
exactly. So that's something that sticks out the whole franchise with Tom, and he was a trendsetter then, and he will definitely be if he makes that script come to fruition. If we can find somebody to fund it, or studios say, you know what, let's
Man,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's gonna kill it. No
I,
pun.
obviously, I'm going to go and see it and all that fun stuff, but I'm really hoping for not a. You want the fun stuff. You want Jason running around the woods, but you don't want it so cookie cutter that like halfway through you're like I've been there and seen this.
Yeah, you need
So,
something new.
And that's what, again, that's how Tom breathes new life back into it. You got zombie Jason coming up out of the grave. You got the children involved, and you know,
I'm sure he's going to deliver, if that again, if he can get somebody to back him on that, man. So
yeah,
only time will tell, man. But this decade, like I was saying, this is the decade, man, that horror just is a boom, and everybody's loving it right now. And the beautiful thing about it, what I'm noticing is that they're grabbing the youth. And yeah, they did that in the past, but now we have all the old horror fans like us, and even even before us, older individuals like in the '70s, '60s that love Universal monsters, or maybe even still live during that time. And now they're getting into the new horror, and now you have all different demographics and generations getting into the horror genre. So that's why I feel like it's never been a better time to be a horror fan. And that's why what we do at Horror 365, man, we want to capture everything. We want to capture all horror. I mean, we're talking every kind of subgenre you could think of, from slashes to paranormal, everything in
it's
between. For the
uh,
children,
like we talked about before on another episode. It's generate. It's That's the right proper terminology. Generational. It's like music. You go to one of these bands that's been around for 40, 50 years, Kiss, Iron Maiden, anything like that. You see maybe not four generations of people, a grandfather, a son, and a grandson, all enjoying the Iron Maiden show. Or so the same thing with horror. Your kids get influenced by you watching the horror. They get into what they're into, and that's how it also keeps going.
you got to keep it. You got to keep it alive. And Sean, we are about to keep this episode. Well, actually, we're going to put this episode to sleep right now. I know we'll be talking about Halloween. It is prime time this weekend. There's a lot going on. You got any plans for Halloween?
Never do, man.
Yeah. What's your? I know you Halloween. Obviously, '78. That's one of your movies you watch.
I just check in with my movies, man. 78's. I also watch Rob Zombie's 31 every Halloween now.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ones that are happen on Halloween night or leading into the week up to Night of the Demons and all that stuff.
Nice.
Anything directly involved with Halloween.
Dude, I got a homework assignment for you. You ready?
Oh,
There it is, Sean. Cobweb. Give that a watch. If you can't find it, I'm going to find it for you where to watch it. It's a new film. I know how you feel about new films, buddy. So we're going to step out of our comfort zone.
it's tough.
Yeah, I know it is. And I don't blame you, because we've seen some we've seen some dumpster fires. Halloween Ends. But the thing is, this is better than End. Well, that's not saying much. But what I'm saying is, this movie is Halloween. The vibe all over it, man. It may not be the greatest horror film, but it has so much tension in it. It leaves you like on the edge of your seat. And the vibe, it screams Halloween. It happens on Halloween night. So take a look at this film. I'm not going to spoil it, but I would love to get your thoughts on this. From a horror fan all his life, and I know how you feel about the newer films. This is one that I feel like I'm definitely watching every year on Halloween as well. So
Nice.
and anybody that hasn't seen it that's listening to this, definitely take a look at Cobweb this Halloween. So I'll be quizzing you. I'll be asking you how. I'm going to find it for you. But, with that being said, Horrorheads, we thank you once again for tuning in. Sean, is there any last thoughts you want to throw out there for Halloween to the Horrorheads? Just check that candy.
Just enjoy and have fun.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. And listen, get out there, connect with people again. I know it's hard. I know social media and the news, they influence us in negative ways. But listen, forget all that. Remember how you were as a kid. And if you are a kid now, ask your parents. Ask what they do when they were younger. Get back some of the old traditions of Halloween. Let's bring that back again, because there's a lot of good times and memories and moments that you can't put a price tag on, and they last a lifetime. So let's recreate that or create new ones and get out there for Halloween. Go trick or treating. Go out there, have fun. Damn it, shaving cream fights, whatever you do. Now,
wear a costume.
Wear a costume. Damn it! If you're gonna knock on my door, okay. No, I'm not getting into the Three's Company song. But if you're gonna knock on my door, damn it, okay, you better be wearing something, okay? Because if you're not getting candy. All right, so I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna unwrap it and eat it right in front of you.
Don't be a parent and have a pillowcase and say, "Hey, Sally, Jack, and Ted are home sick. Can we get something for them too?"
Oh yeah, come on, man. Yeah, Sally.
Too, man.
Yeah, Yeah, no, they can get well soon, Sally Tennant. You're not
Yeah.
getting candy. That's it. But
You're home with a tummy ache. Here's a giant Tootsie Roll for your stomach.
woo, like White Castle, bro. Yeah. No, come on, man. But
If
yeah,
you're that hard pressed for candy, if you go to any drugstore the day after Halloween, it's all 50% off. You can stock up, man.
dude, there it is. Okay, cavities are free, absolutely. But we appreciate you tuning in, Horrorheads. Really enjoy your Halloween weekend. If you see this before Halloween, hopefully you're having a blast. If you see it afterwards, hey, we celebrate Horror 365. That's what we're about, baby. For the 80s, Horror God, Sean T, for the Mouthpiece of Northeast, Jimmy J, and all of the team. As a matter of fact, before we sign out, big shout out to Swift Knox, Horror Daddy. I mean, the list goes on. Ian the Wolfman, Teasus, everybody on the team, Creepy Bettie, Jonny, Sparxx, the list, I can't even remember everybody over here, man. But this is like this is the most wonderful time of the year for us. And this is the Super Bowl for Horror 365. And the new year begins November 1st. And the new season of Horror 365 begins next year in February. We have a couple more episodes coming your way before the conclusion. I know I've been getting emails. I've been getting a lot of emails, actually, as of late. When are you guys doing another interview? When are you guys doing another episode? I have suggestions. Guys, I love it. Keep sending them my way at horrorheads365@gmail.com. And again, like I said in the beginning of the show, it's not that we don't want to deliver more episodes more consistently. It's just that our schedules are very demanding right now. And I have a lot of things in the works for next year. But I promise, season 4, we will be having an episode every single week. And there's going to be more interviews and more content for you coming your way than you've seen yet. So stay tuned for that 2024. But that's why we're building that foundation this year. So more to come, and keep those suggestions coming. I always listen to them. We may not take you up on all of them, but, if one sticks out to us, we'll definitely talk about it or discuss it, movie, films, and any topics that you guys want to talk about. So thank you for that. Thank you for following us on Instagram at Horrorheads365 and on Facebook. That's where the core fan base is, baby, at Horrorheads365. If you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, baby, below. It is free. $3.99. Just like the candy that you get at my door if you're wearing a costume, okay? Horror 365 Alive on YouTube. For the 80s Horror God, Sean T, I'm Jimmy J. We're signing out saying Happy Halloween, and thank you for celebrating horror not only this month in October, but 365. We're going to see you next week.